What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so, I remember reading in a book a long time ago, and I've seen this quote in other books as well and articles. Former President George H.W. Bush, late in his term, this was after he lost the election for him to be reelected to Bill Clinton. So I think this was like December of 1992. And I guess he was talking to a reporter that he trusted. Maybe some reporter he's had some rapport with for decades or whatever. And he told this reporter something off the record. When he was talking about the stuff that people get away with in this country, the elites. And he said something to the effect of Bush. As far as giving you permission to put this out there, not gonna do that. But I want to say this here. If the American people knew what we did, us elites behind closed doors, what we got away with, they'd chase us in the streets and hang us. Bad stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much what he said. He said the shit that we get away with, the elites, if people really knew, if this information was put out there, did they realize how much they're getting fleeced by the elites? It'll be riots. It'll be a revolution. But that's why it's set up so that you read about a head coach in the NBA, and I'm not condoning his behavior, but when you compare what he did, which of course is going to hurt some personal relationships, obviously, yes. But when you compare what he did to what Brett Favre allegedly did and others, which is steal money allocated from the government to go to different usage. Look, so I remember some coon on YouTube try to argue that, hey, when the money goes to the states, they can choose what they want to do. They can, but at the end of the day, let me ask you something. If you apply for money from the government and you take this money fraudulently, guess what happens to you and I? We go to fucking jail. And we're talking about $400, $800, $2,000 compared to, say, $20 million, $80 million that these motherfuckers took. So it's not even in the same ballpark, right? But as reprehensible as that is, what Brett Favre is being accused of now is icing on the cake. So Brett Favre has this charity called Favre for Hope. And the stated purpose of this charity, quote, is to raise and distribute money to help disadvantaged and disabled children and breast cancer patients, according to a summary filed with the state of Mississippi. Or as I should say, Mississippi. That's the mindset, Mississippi. Now look, we're not naive. We know that oftentimes when these charities events are used for the purpose of raising money for children, okay, maybe a little bit of it skimmed off the top. Look, we're not stupid. But for the charity event to give the lion's share of the money to Southern Mississippi Athletics, more of the money is being used that's supposed to be raised to help disadvantaged children and cancer patients, and instead of this money is being diverted to give to a university? So you're taking money under false pretenses, and the plurality of it goes to some selfish pet project of yours, on top of all the other shit that you've been accused of, I'm sorry, y'all, but this man, calling him a scumbag is not enough. Calling him a scumbag is not enough. He's lower than that jam that can deposit in your toes and shit, man. Like if you've been walking in the fucking the woods all day, bare feet or some shit, and that shit that starts to collect in the between your toes, he's lower than that shit. Even though I don't know why you'd be walking in the woods without shoes on, but you know, you get the point I'm talking about, man. Like he's lower than toe jam. He I just don't understand this. I don't understand why people don't have this smoke for what this guy's done. Don't get me wrong, some people do when they read about what's going on. But some people read it and they go, well, you know, and people like that, I don't want to hear you bitch and moan about some football player who broke. Look, I have seen people have more smoke for a Kansas City Chiefs player who broke a vacuum cleaner in an argument with his girlfriend. I've seen people have more smoke for this dude than for this motherfucker. And like I said before, in my last video, he is doing, in my opinion, personally, he's creating the best argument for Pete Rose to be reinstated. Because I know sports got different rules. And I understand that the betting thing was related to baseball. I get that. But when you look at the grand scheme of things today, the climate on betting, the people who make money off of betting, the fact that sports even today seem to be rigged behind betting, it seems very hypocritical to keep Pete Rose out of the Hall of Fame, while at the same time make excuses for what Brett Favre is doing. Obviously, man, look, he hasn't been convicted, but come on. I don't want to hear that shit anymore because Deshaun Watson was never convicted in court, but he was convicted in the court of public opinion. Even when you look at the evidence and you don't see any criminal wrongdoing on Deshaun Watson's part, but guess what? He missed the entire season, and he's going to miss 70+% of this season because of these allegations. Not to mention oodles and oodles of salary. I believe he's going to miss more in salary overall. What was his fine? Plus, I think the games he's missed, he's going to wind up losing way more money than Robert Sarver lost. And then they bring him back conveniently in the game where he's going up against his former team, so the NFL is going to milk him for more money. But Brett Favre, you got to sit back and think about it. I ain't got to think about shit. This guy should be in prison, and he shouldn't be disbarred. I'm going to tell you what. Keep him in the Hall of Fame, but ban him. Do to him what you motherfuckers did to Will Smith. If for smacking someone, Will Smith was barred from the Oscars for 10 years, bar Brett Favre ass for 15 to 20 years from attending any Hall of Fame ceremony with football. Bar his ass. Do that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of all of this nonsense. I'm tired of this, one particular group of athletes get all this harsh penalty and criticism, but other ones get convenient little slaps on the wrist. You got one guy going around breaking tablets, and the NFL scared to penalize him, and they sent a memo to everybody else. Well, don't break any more tablets. New York Jets, we didn't do it. Well, the Bears, hey, talk, whatever. What you guys think, man? Shit is ridiculous.